Without any further delay, let's begin the panel discussion on impact on search and performance marketing in current situation. Here with us are our esteemed speakers, Mr. Mihir Mehta, Associate Vice President, iProspect, Ms. Channan Sawhney, Head Digital Marketing, Johnson & Johnson, Ms. Juhie Gorwara, Head Brand Communications and Digital Marketing, Philips, Mr. Rohit Dosi, Director, Microsoft Advertising, InMobi, and Mr. Sachin Vashishtha is also going to join us for this session. He will join us in another 2 to 3 minutes. So till then, I would request Mr. Mehta to please start.
Thanks a lot. What we've seen is that last 6 to 8 months, there is a tremendous change in the consumer behavior, the consumer patterns, and what people are searching about, what people are. So what we have seen that there is a huge uplift in video viewing. There's a huge uplift in search trends, searches for certain brands, and what we've also seen that there is not such good uptake for certain brands. But without wasting a lot of time, I would just want to ask one question to everybody: how has these last 6 months changed for your brand? I'll start with Channan. What has changed for you at J&J, and what is it that you are looking at from the last 6 months perspective?
Thank you. So I think for us, it's been no surprise that everybody moved online. Need of knowing more information and be in need of trying to fulfill a lot of their needs online as well. So I think that's where the consumer shift happened largely. And we did see a spike in searches across categories, but then we also saw a drop in them. So there were certain categories which actually did not do as many hits in a month because people had sort of pivoted to a near me approach. So I think the searches went from pure play brand or category searches to near me searches, and those took a surge. And when we worked with Google, we realized then directly also got closed online, so to speak, right, through the connected commerce model. So I think we've seen more information being asked on searches. We've seen more ingredient stories being asked on searches. We've seen more, understanding of brands on searches, and definitely a lot of lower down the funnel searches that have sort of spiked.
So, Rohit, what would be your comment on that? So great. You have one great insight which is coming out is that near me searches have increased because people don't want to travel far. One, and second is people don't like to venture out in these times. So hence I think near me searches have definitely increased. And also what we would have been seeing is that people want to shop online rather than go and venture out. Rohit, what would be your comment on how things have changed for you in the last 6 months for your brand, for your company?
Sure. So I think what I'll do is I'll try to break it down, into probably two parts in terms of what we've seen, both from the consumer side in terms of what users are or have been searching on Microsoft Search, as well as how brands are kind of, the second part being how brands are actually trying to capture users in a more innovative manner, right? In terms of, I would say consumer behavior has changed a lot in the last 6 months, right? I think if I were to kind of, say, I mean, it has evolved, right? A few of the categories have specifically picked up, like Channan mentioned, hyperlocal services, right? Which is users now searching for, a lot more near me terms, probably grocery shops or vet hospitals or doctors, stationery shops near them, right? So this has actually seen a huge spike in terms. I think delivery related searches, have kind of seen a massive traction, at least on the platform for us. A couple of verticals that have specifically picked up is we see now people searching for online learning and education, right? I mean, this is one of the categories which has seen a massive boost in the last couple of, quarters. E-commerce as a category post lockdown specifically witnessed a huge growth. I mean, whether it's apparels, electronics, appliances, people are now, with the digital adoption during the lockdown and post-lockdown. I think this is one of the other categories which have gained massive traction. There are also some of the remote and niche categories, which is one is remote working, health and fitness, home and garden, right? People spending more time at their workplace, at homes and not going to their workplaces. There is this new spiel of everyone trying to kind of, have a better lifestyle at home itself. And these are some of the categories that have also picked up. To answer your question again on the second front, how have brands been kind of, changing because of the changing user behavior? I think brands have also been super innovative in terms of user acquisition. Their engagement strategies with their users have changed. They're now finding unique and innovative ways to engage their audiences. And I think everyone is betting big on digital platforms right now, because I think it is the new new go to market for a lot of new products that people are that the brands are launching. So I think a lot of interesting things have happened over the last 6 months, and we expect the behavior to kind of continue in the same fashion going forward as well.
Okay. So couple of good insights that online learning, which we have also seen that has grown up in the last 6 months, that people want to learn new things because this is the right time for people to learn and to know about more things. And edutech as a category has grown definitely in the last 6 months. Moving back to our panelists, what we have seen is that electronics as a category was a bit slow in the first when there was a immense lockdown. It was a bit slow, and people were not able to get some electronic products. I remember that I wanted to get a trimmer. I was not getting a trimmer for the first 3 months. So I think that was one thing which was which we have seen in the first 3 months. How has it changed in the next 3 months for you? Based on search and or based on the uptake of the products?
Sure. So you're right. Initially, when the lockdown just started, the first 21 days stringent lockdown, and then post that as well, certain activities were not allowed in certain zones. So even e-commerce deliveries weren't allowed. And that is when, yes, we did see that the demand was pretty high, but there were limitations. And it was not a limitation just from the brand, because it's not that, we didn't want to serve the customers. It was just limitation from e-commerce sites as well as physically stores were closed. Now, as a brand, we have an omni-channel marketing strategy. So it is on digital as well as we've got a lot of stores that help us sell. So for some time, everything was shut. But eventually then e-commerce started off, which kind of helped us when it just started, because suddenly there was a surge and people who'd been wanting to get a lot of products were trying to get them all together. So the demand picked up quickly, which was great. And likewise, when the physical store started opening, there as well, people who wanted to really get things and couldn't get it in the past, they were probably buying even more because they didn't want to lose out on the time that had gone by. And they were probably expecting maybe if there's another lockdown, we're going to need a few things. So, because of all of the lockdown patterns and what people were wanting, we figured that, we need to create home as the best place for people. And thankfully, the whole array of products that we have are all that people can use, in the DIY way. So our marketing efforts have now moved more towards digital, because even if people physically go to a store, they're not going there to just look at products and then decide what to buy. They're first searching for it, trying to see what is available closest to them, and then just barely going there to pick it up. So all those patterns have helped us develop the strategy even more. And with the most recent launches, if some of you've seen, and I'll get to that probably during the panel, we've tried to use those learnings to then launch new products or come up with the recent campaigns that are going on.
Great. And I think also there was a fear from people that these products might go stock out. So that was also a fear that people were buying a lot of these products and went out to venture. And I think the similar things would have been experienced by you also at Channan, at Johnson & Johnson, that people were fearing of products to go stock out, and they wanted to stock in those products before the lockdown comes again.
Yeah.
Great. So this brings to my next question. Sorry, you're saying something.
No, I was just saying that then there were also certain spikes in terms of leading directly to product pages, right? Because I think that's where the fear was ratified in terms of search and searches there.
We've spoken about a lot of search trend. Tell me one thing: have you observed that other mediums apart from search have also picked up for you in the last 5 to 6 months? Because search is definitely shows the intent towards buying a product, but there are other mediums which also tell us that people buy certain products out of impulse also. So, have you seen any increase in those those from those platforms as well, from a performance perspective, from a business impact perspective?
Sorry, Mihir, who's that question for?
I think Channan can take that question first, and then probably we can move to other.
So I think for us, yes, there have been other platforms also. So platforms that were more social platforms, right? So I there's a huge need for people to connect. There was a huge need for people to check, what's happening with others. So a lot of times, simple things which you would have checked with somebody at work, checked with a friend next door, all of that you were doing online. So I think social platforms also took a surge, and we've seen more engagement on those platforms. The other element was, platforms like OTTs have obviously got a lot of view time. So when you look at across OTTs, I think the time spent on them per person has gone up drastically. So yes, I think when you really triangulate, you really realize that it all sort of has a journey that is very seamless in when you look at it from a consumer point of view.
Sure. So, and Rohit, what have you seen from your product offering, that what other products have picked up apart from search in the last 6 months?
Yeah. So I think with the overall digital adoption right across the country increasing, I'm sure all of your brands in general might have been experiencing something familiar. I think we've seen a overall rise in digital across formats, right? Whether it's search or display, video or content, right? I mean, if I were to bucket it largely, I mean, we have seen the overall adoption across formats, increasing a lot. While some verticals have picked up a lot more, let's say an entertainment, finance, online learning, or e-commerce, vis-a-vis comparing it to travel or travel insurance, etc. But I think what's more unique, specifically that we have observed, is that mobile has been the center of everything, right? I think the overall screen time has shot up, and I think we have seen a lot more number of new users coming in on the platform, not just from tier 1 but tier 2 and tier 3 cities also. And once they are on the platform and online, I think the digital adoption in general grows and increases across formats, which is not just search but display, video and content as well. So we have seen the overall adoption just go up and massively shoot up during the last 6 months.
Great. So interesting point you brought up that the searches and the adoption in tier 2 and tier 3 cities have also gone up. And so Juhie, I'll come to you here, and before she comes, I'll want her answer. Do you see that the next growth will come from a tier 2, tier 3 sector only, because we see that metros are digital first now. But do you think that tier 2, tier 3 cities the next growth will come from those places only?
Yeah, so I think specifically, right, on let's say talking about a search perspective, right? I mean, the next 100 million users, let's say, are going to come online, are going to come from tier 2, tier 3 cities. And I think even in terms of technological advancements to kind of support these people coming in online, it'll take a lot more, right? I mean, probably the people won't be able to search themselves, so probably that is where advancements like voice to search and text to voice, all of that plays in, which kind of brands will be using in more innovatively to kind of get these users adopt to their products and services. So definitely the next of users is tier 2, tier 3 cities, and we already see all of that happening now with cheaper smartphones available in the country, telecom infrastructure developing at a rapid pace. So I think all that is pushing this wave in a very positive direction overall.
Great. So I'll come to you, Juhie. Specifically on the tier 2, tier 3 market, what have you seen? Has it grown for you? What is it that, and especially from the other mediums and search perspective, how has it shaped up for you and for your brand?
I'll just get to that once I establish a background to why we see what is happening today. So while Rohit said he spoke about other devices being used, search is moving to more handheld devices and not so much just the laptops and computers that used to be there earlier. So that's the way that people search. And earlier we were talking about search patterns. But then there's something in between the device and then what is leading to that search. Essentially, right now, people have more time, they are at home, and the content is what is leading to those searches. So I think the way to look at it is in what we're doing right now, because we've seen these patterns of searches and how they're coming and the way the devices are changing, or even the searches coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities. What is getting people to those is because right now they don't have that influence of going to a showroom, looking at the demo there and all, right? So they are relying a lot on reviews and ratings when they are going to sites to purchase something. What is the product that has got good reviews and might work for them? Second, what are other people talking about? And here influencers play a major role. So what we've been trying to do is, of course, celebrity is one big, but keeping that aside, that happens throughout the year, irrespective of the current pandemic that we're in the midst of. But right now, content created by celebrities, and I'm talking about social media celebrities, the ones whose videos pop up on our Facebook, in our feeds, and everywhere we look, whether it's Insta or Twitter, those are what are making people do those searches. So you look at someone trying to tell you, well, a certain kitchen appliance has made my life easier while I'm at home. Then you tend to search for it and see where can I buy it from, what is the price, and how do I get it, either through an e-commerce site or through a physical store near me. These days, like Mihir, you gave that example of trying to look for a trimmer. So how did you get the idea of a trimmer? You must have seen some content that actually told you, here's a product that can help you. So initially, we didn't need to do too much of that because just the advertising was good enough. People would see it in the papers and on billboards, etc., and it worked. But now most spends have gone to digital, and not just in the form of advertising, but a lot of this influencer engagement is through the PR route. It is through direct connects or even relationships, because a lot of times now when we're launching something, we'd like to get someone to review it for us, do a demo, show the videos, so that others get to interact with the product as such. Trimmer is an example, straightening brush, etc. People are just consuming more content. So the content and the marketing strategy is what is eventually leading to those searches. That's something I wanted to point out.
Great. I'll come back to one thing, but Sachin has also joined, so I'll first take his inputs and then probably I'll come back to you. Hi, Sachin. So we
Hi.
had just discussed
Hi,
two
Mehir.
things before you came. That how have things in the last 6 months shaped up for your brand? What have been the changes? What has been the journey of your brand in the last 6 months? Because the last 6 months has changed mostly for each and every brand. It is not the same for every one of us. So how have things changed from a search perspective and also from a overall brand perspective for you?
Yeah, Mehir, right. So last 6 months have been very crucial for us. You would know that the lending industry almost came to an halt largely because of the supplier constraints. Banks have tightened their budgets, because of this moratorium thing going on. And supply side also there were or demand side also there were less of a demand. People were apprehensive of taking new loans, new lending products, while on the insurance side it picked up very well, largely because of people were worried whether COVID was included in the health insurance, whether they had health insurance before or not. So it was a kind of a rush to buy health insurance and term insurance products. So we have seen both side of it. On insurance side, it was growing. Lending side, it was almost zero for the first couple of months, and then picked up slowly. But one good thing happened. First, I'll talk about the brand side of it. Lending was largely offline earlier. Because all these large banks and financial institutions, there was always a last leg which was offline, where they used to take the signature of the person who is taking a loan. and it was mandatory. Without it, a loan can't be couldn't be disbursed, right? But this entire work from home and the entire COVID thing have given us a chance to reboot the industry. While we have all started it, banks have also started working in that direction. Basically, working in a complete digital journey. It has not happened yet, but be it Paisabazaar or be it large banks, large fintechs, other financial institutions, they have also, they've started working rapidly in that direction. So that all these OKYC, VKYC things, they have all the organizations are trying to adopt them in one way or the other, so that the journey can be seamless. And I believe in longer term, it will be very beneficial for the entire ecosystem. As long as search is concerned, we saw interesting patterns. First, the demand side of keywords, they went down. People were searching less for loans, people were searching less for credit cards. But on the other hand, there were some panic induced search patterns, like people were searching whether COVID is covered in my health insurance, whether COVID is what is the limit, will I be able to get money if I get hospitalized for COVID. On the lending side, will moratorium impact my credit score, whether I should take moratorium, I should not take moratorium. So there was an entirely new category of moratorium related searches, which was zero before COVID. So we responded back. So there was nothing more to do because the supplier side was also down. There was not new lending was not happening very prominently, but there was an opportunity to educate our prospective customers, educate people about different lending products and how the credit score thing works. We came up with I think we were the first or second player in the market. We came up with a moratorium calculator, very elaborative moratorium calculator, because most of the searches were related to that whether I should take it, what is one of the three different ways I should opt for paying back if I take up moratorium, etc., etc., etc. So not from the performance side of it, but from the content side of it, search gave us a decent chance. As long as the other channels are concerned, because of the industry dynamics, we were not able to generate more leads. We were not able to spend on these platforms. But whatever we were doing, the content, people have started consuming more content online because because of these work from home scenarios, the timing pattern has changed. Earlier, most of the times these video platforms, people used to be active on those platforms either in the evening or late night times or during the weekends. That time patterns changed. So now people were active on these platforms during daytime also, because of the time they were getting during meetings and during calls. So all these video platforms, they have come up very nicely in terms of the media consumption. Apart from that, like other panelists also said, that consumption on tier 2 cities has increased, and localized searches have increased. So people have started searching more for the local products which was around them, services and products, and same is for lending also. Right. So interesting times.
Great. So actually, interesting 2 points that you brought, that people were searching about moratorium and other pieces and health insurance in the first part of the lockdown.
Yeah.
And now it is changing a bit. One interesting data point which I also saw 2-3 days back only, that car loan searches have increased now, and not in terms of new cars, but for old cars, used cars.
Yeah.
So I that is one interesting data which I saw. And gamification, definitely, and that calculator that you've built. So gamification is something which people are looking at, and people want to understand what they are going in for before taking any loan. So people have become more evolved, and people have become more used to interacting with digital mediums these days. Great. Great. So next question, which the next part of the panel, which I want to cover, is that see, search is one thing, but now it is the festive season that is coming in. So how are your brands catering to those festive season. And I'll start with Juhie this time because I think Philips would be entering into the festive season. I can see a lot of ads on IPL as well. So one place where you have invested a lot this year. So how do you think the next 2-3 months will pan out from a festive season perspective?
Yeah, so I'll have to get back to what I was saying earlier. This time during the festive season, again, most people will be searching for DIY products. So while it is the festive season, and yes, we see a lot of buying for gifting purposes as well. Right now, everyone's thinking about how do we improve our way of life within the premises of our home. And it's not so much about going out and partying as much as taking care of yourselves, taking care of your loved ones. So even for gifting, people are buying a lot of products for the house and giving it to their family members, etc. So accordingly, we're planning our campaigns around that. You see a lot of activity around the IPL because that's where, of course, the male grooming segment is targeted at. Men are now taking care of themselves as well, which was initially mostly outsourced, right? The preference was go get your haircuts done, or just you don't have to really bother about how you can manage things at home. So in fact, we've launched a new trimmer as well during this time because we saw the need for a clipper and a trimmer and various other products. Similarly, with kitchen appliances, I think this is a great time for us to position what people are buying to make their lives easier. And I think within the last 6 months, a lot of people have become self-made master chefs in their homes. While they're still ordering from outside, most of them are wary about what they're feeding their children and want to get a lot of things done at home. So most campaigns are planned around that. And we've been engaging with a lot of influencers to try and get them to kickstart campaigns for us. Because more than us trying to advertise, I think people like to believe what others are telling them, coming back to the point of content. So our marketing strategy this time around the festive season is more around generating quality content that helps people realize the benefits of whatever they're purchasing rather than just looking at a beautiful product and the glamour aspect of it.
Great. And I'll take the same question to Channan as well, that how is the festive season shaping up for you and what is it that you're planning differently this year? Because it will be a different kind of a festive season this year. People might not be able to go out travel, but people would want to stay at home. So how is it shaping up for you and what is that you are planning for this?
So for us, I think we've been in the essential category for the longest time, right? So whether we look at a bit of the baby products, whether we look at Stay Free, except basically my skin health brands, which are Clean and Clear, Neutrogena, everything else has been in the essential health category. So for us, I think we've planned something that happens through the year. So it's not something that sort of over-indexing or under-indexing on, because it's in year and life is going to be very different. And I think the only thing that we are going to be very wary of is the kind of content that we are doing, right? So how the storytelling itself needs to sort of reflect what's happening around you. And the storytelling, some of the great stuff we can already see on IPL through brands, right? But the same kind of mindset on what is the consumer feeling, keeping the consumer at the center and trying to build something that sort of engages, but nothing overtly different for the festival.
Sure. And Sachin, coming back to you for the festive, what we have seen is that loan as a category is very loan and credit cards as a category. There's a large increase in searches for both of these categories. So do you think that the same will happen this year as well, or you see there'll be a slight increase, but not as high as last year? Sachin.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, so you're right. For lending products, festive time is the best period throughout the year, especially October, November, December. These 3 months are usually very good for most of our products. But primary 3 reasons why people take loans during this time is A, home renovation. B, this is the marriage time when people are getting married. So they take loan to finance their marriages, their honeymoons, etc. Third thing is travel. So all these holiday travel, international travel, and all. So these are the three main reasons, primary reasons why people take loans. But because of the current economic situations and people are a bit apprehensive, I believe that people are slightly more reluctant in spending money in vanity expenses or luxury expenses, right? So they might postpone these things. And anyways, government has reduced the number of people who could attend a wedding. Earlier, where lavish weddings used to have thousands of people, now you'll have to do a wedding in less than 200 guests. So all of these would definitely impact the overall loan and credit cards demand. Second thing, credit card demand is largely driven by cashback and free air miles, free reward points, which people can then redeem for travel or for other purposes. So all of these things would definitely go down. But one interesting thing which I've seen, that demand of fresh home loans, it has not increased because of COVID. Even in terms of search volume, fresh home loan search volume, people are looking for new properties, people are applying for new first home loans. And if I benchmark all my businesses to pre-COVID levels, while in other businesses we are still 50-60% of the pre-COVID times, in home loan we are already 85-90% of pre-COVID times. And we hopefully this number will grow, because for a few states, like you must have read that Maharashtra government has given some on these stamp duties. Builders are coming up with fresh discounts on new properties, and as well as new basically offers for home buyers. So we might see a bit of growth in the home loan segment, but I believe others would not be as good as they usually are. But we are looking forward to it.
Sure. So before I jump to question answers from the and I'll just want to hear from Rohit as well, that are there any new offerings from Microsoft's perspective that you usually go to market? What is your go-to-market strategy during a festive season, and how has it changed this year with last year?
Sure. So I think real first, right? I mean, what is that real festive season coming together this time? I mean, the overall digital spends are expected to go up significantly. We are also expecting a lot of pent-up demand and buying to happen from the consumer perspective. On this a bit more in detail, what we did was we did a survey, consumer survey, through our market research platform InMobi Pulse, and to kind of understand what's the consumer sentiment during this festive. I think a few interesting insights that came up, that Indians would be expecting somewhere around 15 to 20 on an average, during the festive season itself. I think a few categories that are expected.
Just a second, Rohit. Sachin, I think you'll have to go on mute for a second, because there's some lag in Rohit's voice. Thank you.
Yeah. So, there are categories, definitely home appliances, apparel, gifting, home furnishing, expected to be, more sought out categories. I think while festive season usually happens in a very planned way, right? I mean, this year around 70%, 71% of the users responded that they haven't completely decided on what to buy during the festive season, right? So like Juhie mentioned, I think the content is going to be very key while brands are looking out to capture these users. So let's say, I mean, even talking specifically about search, right? There are going to be a lot of innovative ways in terms of how you shape up your messaging to reach out to users, right? I'm sure all of you might have watched the video, which is Rasode Mein Kaun Tha, right? I mean, and that kind of just went viral. I mean, right? I mean, a lot of innovative ways to kind of capture would be Rasode Mein Kaun Tha. It could be Philips Tha, right? So I mean, that is something that is going to catch attention of the users, where innovative messaging, content, etc. is going to kind of plug into the whole play, where because the spends from the users are definitely not planned this time, and I think messaging is going to play a key part in capturing the users during the festive season.
So the key takeaway which I take from your point is that it will be more impulse driven than people would want certain things. So what you are saying is that people will go more for impulsive purchases rather than plan those purchases this season. And anyways, people who don't want to plan because they're not sure about what is coming in the next 3 months. Great. Just one question to all of you before we jump to the. Do we have time? I'm not sure. I just want to check.
Yes. We have.
I'll just have one last question that does increase or decrease in search trends or search volumes for a particular brand show the real picture that what is happening about that brand, or is it sometimes different? It doesn't show the real picture every time. So what is it that your take? I can start with Channan this time. That does search increase or decrease in search volumes always reflect about the health of your brand or what people want, or sometimes it is more impulse than searching about it?
So I think I think more and more we've always believed, and I personally strongly believe that search is a very strong tool, right? Because it gives you consumer intent like no other tool. And it is for us, the way we look at it is very simple. I think sometimes it's the context of the consumer itself, right? So if you are writing a buy keyword, for example, and if you put a brand against it, you are more likely to be a loyal consumer than not, right? So there, I think the direction is very clear. But like if I am looking at an overall category now, obviously a lot of categories are also research based, right? A lot of categories are essentially impulse based, like you said. So to take it as an only metric of success on your brand is a myopic view. Having said that, what Juhie also said, sometimes you drive people to searches, right? You're able to drive a demand or an excitement or something that wants them to take the next step or next action or want to learn more. So I think it has to be used as a very key indicator of intent. It has to be used as a very key funnel for first party because it's the best one. But more than that, it doesn't make or break my view on my business. It's an insight generator, but not a make or break from the business.
Sure. Juhie, what would be your views? I understand what Channan is saying, that it is not a make or break, and I somewhere agree with that as well, because having worked with an e-commerce brand, there are certain products which are more searched about, but there are certain products which sell more but are not searched about. So yes, Juhie, over to you.
So I agree with that point of view, and also it depends on where those searches are conducted, right? Because if you're looking at a search engine, there it is more of intent. People are searching for it. They may not buy it. Sometimes they could be searching for it just to see if that is a product they should be going after or not. But if the same search is made on an e-commerce site, then we know for sure that the person's definitely wanting to buy it. They're not here just to compare products. They want to buy it, but they will then look at aspects like reviews. They will look at aspects like price on this site versus another site. So then we know for sure they're going to buy it. Then you could, in fact, go more targeted after them if you know who those people are. You could, and that's what a lot of people do as well, right? You could just haunt the customer till they eventually buy it. So that's a pattern that a lot of people follow.
Totally understand. One shoe which you see once on an e-commerce site, it doesn't leave you till the time you buy it.
Whether you're on Facebook or Insta or wherever, it's just going to haunt you till you buy it. And after you buy it, they'll probably show you similar searches or what else you can get along with it. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Juhie. Over to you, Rohit. So what would be your view?
So I think totally aligned on what Channan and Juhie said, and I agree to the point that it depends a lot on where the searches are being made, right? And but I think search in a way is a true reflection of first intent. I mean, it could be purchase, or it could be probably just getting to understand or know more about the product. And there are definitely different verticals for which the convergence might even happen online, but people might want to read reviews or search for more content just in general, right? Like let's say automobile, right? So I think it might be difficult to attribute the impact of search across different phases of the marketing funnel, but I think it does it gives you a true reflection of that it has a clear impact on each of the stages of the funnel, right, in certain shape and form, and in terms of how brands would want to use it could actually be very different, varying from one vertical to other. So yeah.
Great.
Add
Great.
one more point, if you don't mind.
Yes.
When we're talking about search engines and what the search patterns there are, that I think collectively benefits the entire category and not just a specific brand, because people usually do not put in a brand name while searching. They would just put in the product, and then they want to look at what options come up. So that in turn, if we were to look at the aggregate data or what people are searching for, categories could benefit a lot from it. If we know that this is a category people are going after, and then you plan your campaigns or your content or your spends accordingly within that category. That's enough.
So just 1 minute. So Sachin, I understand that. So I'll go to Sachin. So I understand that your category is totally dependent on what people are searching about, because financial services is one category where people want to know, and most of the marketing spend happen based on what people are searching about. So I think it would be a bit opposite of what how other categories function.
So search is a very important channel for us, but like other panelists also said, that there are different type of keywords having different type of intent. So one might be a very strong intent keyword, the other might fall in the awareness category. But what I believe is, and this is an opportunity for most marketers. Search, we should not rely on search only from the performance point of view, right? If you look at the branding angle, earlier back in like, let's say 10 years back or 15 years back, whenever we used to have a new TVC, we most of the marketers, they follow up with a survey, right, on different platforms, whether you have seen this TVC, what is your first reaction, whether you got this from the TVC, what are the different emotions this TVC brought out in you, etc., 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 right? And then the marketer used to analyze those survey reports and then came up whether the TVC was successful, whether whatever you wanted to convey was conveyed rightly, or was there a lag, was there a gap, etc., etc., right? We can utilize search to do all this analysis. Whenever you have a new TVC, whenever you have a new product launch, whenever you have a big event, right, most of these people, they go on Google and start searching about your brand. So I'll give you an example. When we came up with the free credit score product, and we were the first in the country, earlier credit score was paid, and you could only get your credit score from CIBIL, and you had to pay 800-900 rupees for that. We made it free for everyone, right? So we went live with our TVC, and our branded search volume went up, but not only ours, the entire category's volume went up. People started searching for CIBIL score, people started searching for free credit score, while on the same time they were searching for Paisabazaar free credit score, right? So it was kind of lifting the entire category. And then it was followed up by different long tail searches, and if you analyze those search patterns, you would know what a consumer is exactly thinking after watching your TVC. What is the impact your TVC or your other campaigns are having on your consumer's brain? So that is one interesting piece where marketer can invest some time and mine different keyword patterns, different trends in the industry, etc., etc. As long as the correlation between a brand reputation or a brand image and the search volume is concerned, we should not see it in isolation, right? So one is the branded category, branded keyword search. If it is going up, definitely your brand recall is going up. Definitely the awareness around your brand is going up. But we should also look at the generic category keyword volume. If it is also going up, then this might be, it is not because of something which you are doing. It is because of something because of the entire category is going up, right? And vice versa. If the entire category is going down, definitely your keywords volume would also go down.
Yes.
Right, so you can sense whether you are gaining the market share or you are losing the market share, or you are just maintaining whatever you have. what are the different patterns, what the consumer is thinking about you, about your brand, about the new products you're launching. So you can found huge insights from these keyword searches.
Sure. Sure. Thanks, Sachin, for your inputs. Before we all go, thanks a lot, everyone, for being here. We have just we have three questions from people. We'll want to take that one by one, and I hope we have 2 to 3 minutes so that we can just finish these questions.
We are actually over time. We can take one question if you want, otherwise, yeah.
So what I'll try to do is I'll club all these three questions into one question and then give that. So what people are asking me about is more from a point of view that how voice search has changed in these times, and are people and is performance marketing also possible through voice search? And second is increase in online searches and online buying bring threats to the originality of the product. How can we overcome this gap? So these are the two questions which are there. Anyone can take this. I would want to hear hear more about voice search personally, because that is one question that was the first question that has come to us. Anybody can take that.
So I'll attempt, though I don't think any of us here know just how voice search works. But from what I understand, voice search does translate to a similar pattern as keyword search, because whatever the consumer is putting in through the voice does eventually get recognized by the search engine in the clear translated words. So the impact would be similar. But the way it's helping brands and organizations now is because we're getting a lot more searches. That just adds to the volume. Not everyone's capable of typing keywords to their mobile devices. Specifically, the keyboard size is small. Certain people are not very good with putting in the right spellings, or the older generation that has a problem with writing those little characters. It's easier to just speak and get done with it. But eventually the search engine is recognizing it similar to the other searches that are being made. So the answer then flows in a similar way.
Okay.
I think the keywords will be different for voice searches. So it has to really see the minds of the consumer. Again, just you will not be able to have the same way that people type is not the same way they think, and it's not the same way they speak. So one needs to just be mindful of that, and learnings have been on how the same person in the same top or below funnel will write differently. Very, very
Yeah, and I think certain level of personalization is also going to kick in. Eventually might help drive performance. So I think, I mean, we are still at the initial stages of voice search. Probably happens at the digital ecosystem, but probably with more personalization coming in, I mean, the recommendations might be exactly what you might be looking for, right? So I think definitely in times to come, it'll be very easy to drive performance using voice search is something.
Do you think desktop searches will go down sometime and voice search will be more prevalent?
I mean, we've seen the trend. I mean, the mobile is definitely increasing, right? So, I mean, I see the next users who are coming online, they're not coming online through desktops or laptops. I mean, right? I mean, they're primarily coming online through mobile. So, I think definitely that could be a strong indicator, saying, the next thing that is going to happen is mobile plus, devices, which kind of help in voice search, which is, let's say, a Google Home or an Alexa, or I don't know. I mean, there could be multiple things through which, the search could be captured using voice. So, interesting times ahead.
Yeah. So like Juhie said that after all, it's the results come up in text form only. So unless search engines, so basically it's in a very nascent stage. Probably in let's say a year or two, or maybe sometime more, when search engine would start giving answers in voice. So you ask a question using voice search, and the search engine give you back the answer in form of voice. Things would remain the same. The only difference I feel is increasing vernacular searches because of the voice search, because people will start speaking in their native language. They'll start asking questions in their native language, and content in these vernacular languages would come up first. So maybe we brands can invest in that directions too.
Sure. So great having a conversation with everybody. It was a quite interactive session. I hope everybody liked our session as well. Over to you.
Thank you,
Mihir.
everyone, who are esteemed panelists for such an insightful discussion. Thank you to our wonderful audience as well. Please stay tuned for more action. Thank you.
Pleasure being a part of it.
Thank you.